All right, we are live. I am pissed.
Tell me.
As you can see, I'm not doing this the normal way. I'm not. My laptop is giving me crazy trouble, so I'm doing this through the phone. So, first things first, before we get anything started, bro, I'm sorry.
All good, man.
No,
Technology is what it is.
no, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing, dog.
We go as far as machinery takes us, my friend.
No, that's respect, man. Thank you for everybody tapping in, the watch list. But before we do anything, we got to get the question out the way. Question of the week. We haven't been doing these in quite some time, so I got a question for you, bro. If you were in a gauntlet match, what would be the stake? Or let me rephrase that. If your friends were in a gauntlet match, what would be the stake that would be on the line? So, like, the New Day is fighting for Kofi for WrestleMania. What would your friends be fighting for you to secure?
Oh, geez. Well, I would probably say something along the lines of something low stakes, right? Because I don't know if I can trust them to take on The Bar, to take on Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev, which, by the way, random team, right? So, like, maybe like a pizza or something, like very low stakes.
Oh, see, you are a good friend. I have nothing but high stakes for my friends. Like, you need to fight for my life, right? Like, forget the WWE Championship. We are fighting to death. You know what I mean? Like, put in that work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, Kofi is a great person. I'm not. I'm not a good person at heart, right? So
I don't know if I agree with that. Objection, Your Honor.
I appreciate it, bro. It is one of those things, man. Like, we're not fighting for the bare minimum. We're going for the highest stake possible. Like, I want to see my friends turn heel on people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you want some ride or die stuff. Let me ask you this. So in this scenario, are we in a federation and we are wrestlers? Or
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So not like actually I see what you're saying. Yeah. If you put here's long-term booking, right? Give the ability to inherit the general manager roles of our respective show, so that you become the boss, and then you can create all the scenarios. And then you talk about your friends turning heel. They're now incentivized to do that, because then if your friend is the boss, they can get you title matches. They can get you the main event spot, right?
You know what I mean? This is your first time on BGW. We are all natural heels on this program. You know what I mean? Especially my man Nolo, who's doing it until the final whistle right now. He's the biggest heel. I truly am probably the most babyface out of the group. You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there, right? It's all good. But you know what's not? This intro. Let's get it going.
Why does it matter to me? It's in my veins, baby. It's in my blood. You understand? Since kindergarten, since I was about this high, I've been watching wrestling.
Watch this. This ain't the pod for the gossip kid. BGW watch list. Black guys, civilized them 85s. Acknowledge the nerd that knows with the vibes. If you catch my live, Scotland goes live. No logos, bell to bell. 5 leaf for the leave it off the list of them holy grails. Speak raps with Chaz and D-Mac. 3 count on D-Mac. Telling pause to relax. Watch this. The watch list. Black guy. Watch this. The watch list. Black guy.
Flames, absolute flames.
Fire, right? It feels so damn good to hear that intro. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the watch list, the show for the sickos, the people that are too deep in the trenches. You know what I mean? We're not here to talk about what's going on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. We're here to talk about the past and what it means to us. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your gracious host, Scotland Underwood. As you see, I have a new camera set up. My laptop was giving me hell. And I feel like that is the universe telling me that this is really the last episode of the watch list. So you might be seeing history, you know what I mean? Yeah, not good. One time for my man Marks, what's going on, bro? But we got a special guest today, and it's somebody I truly see as a brother, a friend, you know what I mean? Like, we've had conversations beyond the wrestling world, right? This man is an intelligent creative, an intelligent soul. Probably one of the purest souls I've ever met in my journey in life. Yeah, bro. Yeah, we gas people up, bro. So, ladies and gentlemen, coming to BGW for the first time, my man JC, LifeMarks Media. How are you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing way better after you put me over there just now. So thank you very much for that and for having me on.
I told you, bro, this is what we do on this program, man. Like, we are here to show you love, man. Like I said, this has been a long time coming for you and me, man. Like, I've been wanting you to come onto the podcast for at least about a year now. Just the stars aligned with everything. And like I said, if this was going to be the last watch list, I can't think of a better person to wrap this up with than yourself, bro.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. And, you know, before we really get diving in, because, you know, we got an excellent topic to discuss. Like I said, just, you know, for the fans, for the people watching who want to know a little bit about you, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, you are genuinely one of the best photographers I've ever come across. Like, and I've come across a lot of photographers. Your work is tremendous, bro. Please big yourself up, man. Please tell people about LifeMarks Media, who you are, and what's your mission in life.
Oh man, quite an elevator pitch. But hey, thank you so much for saying that. That means a lot to me. Obviously, at the end of the day, I'm just a guy, right? I'm looking for work. I'm looking for a job, and so when I couldn't find a job as a photographer, videographer, editor, at least here on the peninsula on the 757 Hampton Roads, coastal Virginia, southeastern Virginia. Then when no one will hire you, you kind of have to hire yourself. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to start my own firm. And although I didn't have like, you know, delusions of grandeur or anything like that, I did just want to do what I knew I was good at and get paid for it, and at least keep myself going to the next thing, right? And so we started LifeMarks Media, and in fact, we are celebrating our 1-year anniversary as a company on Halloween this year. Yeah, so in a couple of weeks, it'll be one revolution around the sun. And yeah, as far as well, I'm sorry, what was your last question on that? You said something about like what is my purpose?
Yeah, like what's the mission for LifeMarks Media? Like, I feel like people, they, or at least what I've encountered, people don't respect photographers in the sense of like they think that is just like taking a picture and doing that. There's so much work that goes into that. So like for you, what is the goal of LifeMarks Media?
Yeah, so our motto is capture the memories that matter most. And on our logo, which I can grab that for you.
Yes, please.
Should have worn this, but on our logo here, you can see the life marks. And shout out to my friend Mishi for making this logo. You notice it kind of looks like the EKG of a heartbeat, right? Like the little beep, the little, indicating your heartbeat in a medical sense. And not unlike the human heartbeat, there's peaks and there's valleys, right? And it's on a line, right? So a life mark that I've conceptually made is like a landmark, where landmarks show us which way we're going and which way we've been. So too do these life marks, these peaks and valleys of our lives and our storyline. They show these peaks and valleys. They show us exactly these moments, like what I photograph, where it's like your graduation, or you got a new job, or you bought a house, or it's a wedding, or all these first child, that kind of thing. I want to preserve these moments in film and in video. You mentioned that some folks don't respect that as much. It can be a little tough because it's very accessible on our phones. Photography is much easier than it used to be. But I think that's the difference with what I'm doing, is that I'm not shooting on an iPhone. So if you're interested in that and you find yourself in the Southeast Virginia area, hit me up.
Fuck that. If you are watching worldwide, please hit my man up for all the best photography. And speaking of worldwide, Chaz is here. My brother Chaz, what's up, man?
Yeah. JC, good to see you again, man. How you been?
Hey, it's good to be seen, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm well, man. I'm well. It was boy, let me tell you, JC, you're not from the area. Actually, you're kind of familiar. So you're aware with the Hampton Roads traffic, the Hampton Roads Bristol traffic. Yeah, that shit kicked my ass all day. So
it's a nightmare.
It was a nightmare today. It was pretty rough. I barely avoided a panic attack. It almost happened. Well, I kept it cool and made it through. And that's in the past. Because right now, we in good vibes, baby. So that's all that matters.
Right.
Bro,
are you on the south side or the north side?
So I live in Hampton. So
okay.
So my new job, I have to travel to Chesapeake.
Oh no!
So in my head, I'm used to one different way. But so with Chesapeake is tricky because Chesapeake can be right near Suffolk or it can be damn near Norfolk. So
that's true.
So now before, I'm just gonna give me an hour and 30 minutes. That way I can beat everything and have a peaceful mind and a peaceful fucking day. Just like I'm about to do right now on this watch list. Scott, what's good?
Bro,
let's do it.
The universe is fucking me up because I'm using the phone.
I didn't want to say anything.
Dog, I went to 5 different rooms in this motherfucker. And the one room I always use, somebody using it. Bad juju, dog. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Bad juju.
You know what? The party's still going. We'll adjust.
Here. You know what I mean? One time for Dolo, one time for Mac, one time for Lorenzo. But let's not waste any more time. Gentlemen, we got a watch list to talk about. And JC, the pick that you have bestowed upon us is going back to which feels like a completely different era, and it wasn't that long ago, right? We are talking the March 26, 2019 episode of SmackDown. And this is a significant episode, man. So we're talking about a time frame, especially for this particular match, where we are talking, I think, a week out from WrestleMania 35. And WrestleMania 35, for a lot of people, is remembered for one thing, Kofimania. Kofi Kingston challenging for the WWE Championship against Bryan Danielson, then known as Daniel Bryan. And the storyline building up to this is Vince McMahon does not see it in Kofi, doesn't want it, right? He's putting Kofi through all these trials and tribulations. Kofi has to go through several gauntlets. Just
fire matches, by the way.
Crazy matches.
Crazy. Kofi was on his A game. Man.
But this particular episode of SmackDown and this particular episode of Watch List is looking at Big E and Xavier Woods, the New Day, having to go through the gauntlet to secure Kofi Kingston going to WrestleMania. So starting with JC, man, why did you pick this particular match?
Yeah, well, so it was very emotional going up into it because I can distinctly remember when Mustafa Ali becomes injured before his placement in the elimination chamber, right? And so then they announced, like, okay, because Mustafa is injured, which ultimately ended up not being a very big injury, which that's neither here nor there. They said one of the members of the New Day were going to be taking his place. And so when it was announced that it would be Kofi Kingston, right, I distinctly remember a meme being posted on like the various IWC forums. It was a photoshopped image, and this is before AI, mind you, or like before ChatGPT and all this, right? So people actually had to make the stuff that they were manipulating.
Oh man,
right?
what? Wow.
You had to figure things out in 5 minutes, but no, but there was a photo of Kofi with the big WWE belt, and in huge text above it, it just said, "It's time." And I remember seeing that image, and I was just like, man, that would be so fucking cool, but they're not going to do it because Vince is still in charge at this point. And so Vince McMahon doesn't like doing cool things. And when things get forced down his throat that are cool, like Daniel Bryan, which we'll get to in a minute, right? And then even to a lesser extent, Becky Lynch, who is now on the rise, who is white hot, right? The man has been, both Kofi and Becky were kind of, the rockets were strapped to him. Vince still was so out of touch with the product that he didn't know what to do with the flames that he had in his hand. Everything wrote itself for him, but it wasn't cool. So then I thought, well, that would be cool, but it's not going to happen.
Right.
Then it starts to pick up momentum. Then it's Bryan and Kofi at the end of the Elimination Chamber, and all of us are sitting on the edge of our seats thinking, this could happen. This could happen, right? And of course they don't do it, right? They could have called an audible. They could have done it. They didn't, right? So now it's like, you know what? I think the crowd was like, we're getting Becky Lynch. That seems to be a foregone conclusion. Let's see if we can get Kofi too. And so I don't know what changed. I don't know what changed.
So like,
but I'm glad it did.
I was gonna say, you gotta even put it into the context before the chamber, like when they did, because the original point before the chamber match was, I think they were gonna do a gauntlet about who enters at like the last number in the chamber. And if I'm not mistaken, I didn't go back to watch it, but I think Kofi was the first person in that gauntlet match. And gauntlet match went damn near 40 minutes, right? And so like, in a gauntlet match, like the whole point is there's one particular wrestler that you want to see make it to the very end, if not win, right? And I think people at the time, like you said, like Kofi at this time, Kofi is easily in my top 10. I love Kofi Kingston. I've been a huge fan since the day I saw him, right? And yeah, oh come on, man. Kofi has always been a tremendous babyface, right? But I think by this point in 2019, the New Day still one of the best acts in the company. I think they were very much content, and I'm talking about WWE. They were very much content with them just being a tag team, right? Mm-hmm. But in this particular gauntlet match before the chamber, Kofi's in it, and then Kofi he keeps winning, right? And with each win, the crowd is getting louder.
Right.
And I can't remember who pinned him, but I remember when he lost, there was a complete dejection from the crowd. Like they were genuinely upset because I think people were wanting this. They wanted Kofi to make it. Then you get to the chamber, him and Daniel, like you said, put on a great ending to the match. He loses. And me at this time, I'm thinking that's it. Like we're not going beyond the chamber. But then the movement starts happening, right? The noise starts happening. And it is important to put into context, especially as a Black wrestling fan. At this time, WWE has not had a African-born world champion, right? The Rock is Black, you know what I mean? So The Rock is technically the first Black WWE champion, but you know what I mean? Like he's Black and Samoan, so it's 50-50, right? But we're talking about 100% African, 100% Black man becoming a WWE champion in 2019. You just like, you have hope, but you're not sure if we're gonna make it, right? Which I guess going over to Chaz, like at this time, like, did you foresee? And before we even get to WrestleMania, did you even think that at any point that we were going to see a black WWE champion?
Okay, so not necessarily because I was not necessarily around, but I remember when I started to kind of make my way through to the Graps when I was younger. My uncle was the first one. I never told you this, that my two uncles, they watched when Ron Simmons won the world chip. And when I started to make my way, that was one of the first things that they shared with me. So I saw it could be a thing, right? I saw, okay, this could happen. Obviously, right circumstance, right people, but it can happen. Now, to the WWE, again, there were instances, obviously, JYD is a main one that comes to mind. That could have been, we're going way back. Could have been Ron when he slid Nation Domination, the Royal pick, and then we can fast forward to Bobby Lashley. So there was instances where I was like, all right, possibly, right? But as you know what I'm saying, and as our history, we got to see it to believe it, right? Representation is everything. So I need to see it needs to happen. The idea of potential is cool, but that just means I haven't done shit yet. I need to see the product. So to answer your question, Scott, no. You know what I'm saying? I just was like, I believe it could happen, but I just needed to see it happen. So when Kofimania came around, and again, mind you, this time I'm not even watching the game, but Kofimania had brought me back. Scott, I heard Rumble. I was like, what are we talking about? Because I know Kofi. I knew what Kofi Kingston was. I knew, you know what I'm saying, man, you know what I'm saying? That guy. I knew that guy. No disrespect, because that guy could cook. That guy was a real deal. And again, one of my favorite views of all time was him and Randy Orton. So I knew Kofi had the potential to be special. But what we as the culture believe and what we as great fans believe don't always translate. So it's you don't want to get your hopes up. So I was like, yeah, we all believe. Yeah, it could be something. Absolutely. Got to see it. I'm not, you know what I mean? Our emotions are too valuable at this point to be played with. So when the rumblings was happening, I was like, all right, let me, the meme with Kim Kardashian kind of peeking around the bush. Like, all right, I'm going to see, let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying? And it, like you said, it kept being real. And it kept getting real. And it kept getting real to the point where it was just so undeniable. And it was funny. And I know we'll probably get to it, and I don't want to jump ahead, but it was funny that the opponent was Daniel Bryan Brown dancing, because a couple years ago, he went kind of through the similar thing. So it was funny how we kind of, brought that back around. But yeah, man, I didn't believe it. I had to wait. I was cautious. I was very, very cautious with that. But once it started rolling, nigga, we was on and popping. I was on the
fucking train. and like I said, man, like you can go back in, like this was the early days of BGW, and I remember we quickly were talking about like the potential, like what's the possibility that this actually happens, right? And like I said, going back to you, JC, like there's a lot of key figures in this story, right? Like I said, we're talking about not necessarily Kofi in this instance. We're talking about Big E and Xavier Woods.
That's right.
As a fan, what did the New Day mean for you? You know what I mean? Like, what did the New Day, when you watched them, like, what exactly, like, were they, like, destination television for you? Like, when you saw them, you were like, oh, bro, I'm not changing the channel. It's the New Day.
Well, as the good WWE shill that I was, AEW was not yet a thing. I know they were. You could even argue that this storyline happened because the looming AEW, I believe it was announced earlier that year, that kind of put pressure on WWE's creative to do better. I mean, that's why you see Becky Lynch. That's why you see Kofi Kingston getting all that. But I digress. New Day for me was the highlight of WWE program. I mean, those guys came out like fools with the unicorn on their head, right? They've got the Booty-O cereal, which I've got a box of. I'm going to pull it out in a second to kind of, show my credentials here. But and they're also throwing pancakes into the into the crowd, and they've got all these catchphrases. They're a ton of fun. This massive man, this 300-pound man who is like all muscles, like gyrating his hips. They've got a trombone that they're playing, skipping around, clapping hands with the power of positivity. These were wrestlers who were non-traditional wrestlers. We're talking like guys who like you could see were being absolutely ridiculous. If anybody else had this gimmick, it would fall flat on its face. I think there's even like a little reel of like I think it's like Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns and somebody else, Seth Rollins. They like did something in 2K where they gave them the New Day's entrance and they just look like a bunch of fools. But that illustrates to me it doesn't work. It doesn't work with anyone else, right? And so for me, especially around that time, I was watching WWE pretty religiously at that point. They had pulled me back in with Dolph Ziggler versus Miz for the IC belt. And then I think AJ Styles had just come back to SmackDown Live, so that was kind of a thing. Anyway, I was in from there. And then I was introducing my girlfriend at the time, the New Day. And when you're introducing someone to wrestling, you know that it's a tough sell, especially if they don't like anime or if they don't like any of these other like story-based ridiculous things going on where you have to suspend your disbelief. But you just need that one wrestler, that one character that they can relate to, and just hook them, right? And then they're fans for life, or at least for as long as you're a couple, right? So my girlfriend loved the New Day. She loved the pancakes. Every time they were on screen, she was, she would not be watching with me, and she would hear, "Oh, local city, don't you dare!" Right? And then she's running into the room because she's like, "Oh, New Day's on. I want to watch this, right? What kind of antics are they going to get up to today?" So, so to see them in this, where we have those stakes because we love these guys, and we know also because of their battles with the Usos, which we'll get into, they can go. Right? It's not just a comedy act. They can go. They can put on, Meltzer be damned, 5-star matches as far as I'm concerned. It was a big deal.
Yeah, I think like I said, the whole concept of the New Day, especially when I remember when they first formed, I was so fucking excited. I was like, yo, we get Kofi, Xavier, and Big E in a group? Hell yeah. Then they started doing the church thing. I was like, hell no. That's not what are we doing, man? That's not it. What are we doing? But I remember, and like I said, we're that 2016 up until this time period right here, I was strictly New Japan. I was strictly New Japan, Ring of Honor. That's all I watched. And NXT. NXT was cooking at this time. So those three things, right? And I just was like, I'm not watching main roster WWE. By this time, I'm getting tired of the product. I'm getting tired of the lack of vision. People that I was a fan of, they're not getting pushed. But I always locked in for the New Day, right? And I remember, I think it was after Mania, one of the Manias I was in California, and they had turned heel. And I'll never forget the segment on Raw where Xavier Woods is mad, right? He's got his arms folded. He's pissed off about something. And Big E looks at him. He was like, you know what you need to do? All you need to do is clap. New Day rocks. New Day rocks. And man, when I tell you, they took that ball, ran with it. Chaz, you're a nerd. What did the New Day mean for you?
Niggas. No. JC, you cool? So I figured you would laugh at that one.
I'm trying not to laugh too hard. Turning as red as my shirt.
It was right there. I'm sorry. All right. Just the culture, man. The culture was on full display. Right now, I'm with Scott. Given that, I don't want to get too Dr. Umar. Given that certain tropes have been used against us historically, seeing certain things that the New Day did, it was kind of like, yeah, we happy, but damn, this is how we got to get it. You feel me? Like, we can't get another way. And so, and again, this is not to say that it can't be done or I don't like it or it's not a place for it. It's just the fact that what the idea was happening under the admin who was under. You feel what I'm saying? That's what made it. And then when you start to learn about everything else with, everything on the back end, it's like, oh, okay, this is kind of uncomfortable, but let's see how this plays out. And again, and if y'all haven't got a chance, please go read the excerpt article from Players Tribune on Big E. He broke it down brilliantly as far as when it came to the concept, because kind of said some of the similar things, but he also understood, like, you know what? If this is what you're going to give us, we're going to make the best of it. And that's what just Black people historically have always done. Whatever you're going to give us, we're going to knock it out the park. I'm pretty sure, like Scott said, they were cool with them just being mid-card tag team. They had no idea of what was coming. And that's the beauty of why I love New Day so much. You thought it was going to be one thing. You thought you were going to box them in. You said, no, fuck that. We're going to give it to you who we are. We're going to manifest and mold it to the way we like it, to where you may have thought it was a trope on this end, but now you have to respect it because everybody loves it. And now it's not a joke. It's the real deal. Because we saw the reactions Kofi was getting. We saw the reactions New Day were getting. We saw, oh, wait a minute. So the thing is, we knew Big E and Kofi could cook, right? If you want to tap into who Xavier was before WWE or whatever, you didn't have an idea. But once he got the spotlight, it was game on. Bigger than that, Xavier was able to show his mic skills. And I think that's the most underrated quality of all the New Day. Xavier mic skills are tippity top. Tippity top. And it was just a beautiful thing to watch three Black brothers say, we're not going to fuck with what they talking about. We're going to make this our own, to the point where we're undeniable. To the point not only we're undeniable, you're going to have to put us in these spots because that's what the people want. And I know a lot of times when it's like you're trying to make decisions off the fan reactions, it's hit or miss. But the last couple, well, I won't say that. I don't give motherfuckers too much credit. I will say, like, there's a lot of dumb motherfuckers out there. But there is a portion of smart individuals or guys that just get it, that have been trending upwards since the 2020s. And it was hard to deny the fan reaction kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. To where the point, it was not only Kofimania, Big E got a little bit of taste of that as well. On top of that, Xavier was able to flex his solo muscle by winning King of the Ring. So it benefited all three, and it still benefited all three to this day.
You got to put it in context. Like, looking at the roster at this time, I don't think anybody could have gotten the buzz for this particular scenario like the New Day. Right?
Absolutely not.
Like, and we're talking about 2019, so we're talking about like on the flip side of the show, the big storyline is Seth going against Brock Lesnar, right? And like I said, at this time, like, there was a genuine buzz about Seth, right? And I really do think, had Kofimania not happened, there might have been a bigger focus on Seth as from the men's side. Like, nobody was touching Becky Lynch as far as like the number one babyface in the company. But for every great babyface, you have to have a great heel that complements it. And it's Kofi and the New Day going against Daniel Bryan, right? And I know a lot of people are going to be like, Daniel Bryan heel. Nah. This version of Daniel Bryan, man, Earth Boy. Earth Boy.
The Planet Champion.
Hey. He was cooking. He was cooking with that shit.
JC, talk to me, man. What about this particular character for Daniel Bryan was so compelling. And truthfully, why did it make sense that Bryan was the one who had the WWE Championship and he's going against Kofi? Like, what do you think made it a perfect pairing?
Well, I think we alluded to it earlier, is that, and they say this a lot in the promos, is that Daniel Bryan would say a lot that he was the B-plus player back at WrestleMania 30. He was the underdog that management didn't believe in, but the crowd was 130,000% behind, right? And to now have that change to where his character is really jaded and really tired. Like I always say that the heels are best when the arguments they make sense, right? So he's frustrated as the Plan's champion, right? He's this guy from Seattle. He's this yuppie hippie guy that like loves recycling and all this stuff. It is even characterized by the beautiful hemp belt that he changed for the WWE Championship, which
I gotta get that belt, by the way. I got to find it.
It's pretty cool.
It's so fucking fire.
It's a beautiful belt. I don't like, and it was so unique what was happening, because we've seen Cena with the spinner belts, we've seen custom belts before, but to use non-traditional elements to make something completely new but still be familiar, excellent work there. And then of course Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan at the time, his in-ring work was untouchable, right? This was before. Oh wait, this was this before or after his retirement?
This was after the retirement.
After the retirement. So he's so that's also part of it too, is that it's devastating that we wanted him back so bad, and now he's like making it our problem, right, as fans. So that's what makes it extra devastating. And then it's confusing because why you were in this position? You were Kofi 5 years ago. Why are you doing this to him now? So super compelling stuff.
So wait, he had retired and came back, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
Right. Yes. 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 Got it. Yeah. It's tracking. Okay.
Dude, I remember when the heel turn happened, it was that phenomenal match, pun intended, against AJ Styles, where he won the WWE Championship and he turned heel. And I remember there was a genuine buzz about that, because it's like, I don't think a lot of people thought like, oh, we're gonna get this run from Bryan. He just came back. He's probably gonna go balls to the wall, babyface. And it was a full switch. It was a full switch. And if you're familiar with his work in Ring of Honor, it was like a play on the "I'm better than you" character that he did, right? Which wasn't really a character. Daniel really thought he was best in the world, right? It is like he took real life elements. Like the person that we saw was the heel version of the real life Bryan Danielson. Like I believe there was a time he was a vegan. Like he is very protective of the earth. You know what I mean? Like it's like you said. Like
yep,
it was an extension of him, right? And the thing with Bryan, it was just very much. You could tell from like the back end, he wanted to give back to this business in some capacity, right? What we're seeing right now, I feel like he's molding minds in AEW, but at this time, we're not even thinking about a retirement. You know what I mean? We're thinking about what's he going to do, what's he going to be ending on, and it just worked, right? Once again, I don't think there was anybody on that roster that would have a compelling storyline with Bryan Danielson. I don't know if you see it that way. Like, I don't know if like you can see anybody else in this spot for either position. I can't do it. Like, I don't think about Bryan and Randy Orton. Like, I know the long rumor was like it was supposed to be Mustafa Ali, and I'm here to tell you that was not going to happen. Like, do you think anybody could have been in either of their spots as far as like telling this story?
Well, what I'll say is that after being force-fed Roman and Brock and them clogging up the main event scene for the past, 3 to 4 years, maybe even longer prior to that, fans were clamoring for something more. You know, we were dying for something fresh. You know, if it was Mustafa Ali, I'm trying to think of other faces that were on SmackDown at the time. It could have been Jeff Hardy was there and he was doing a run.
I'm sorry, I mean, cut you off. Was there a thing for? It's stream of consciousness going in and out, but I'm trying to catch this something because I remember for some reason there was like this clamoring. Scott, you mentioned Seth. I remember Seth being like bring up often, especially around the time where it was like Roman Brock, and Seth was kind of like a mid card, hot card type deal. But it was Seth. Was Dolph a thing still?
Dolph at this point had been through so many like start and stops.
Yeah. Okay. So people got tired.
Yeah, I don't think
jobbing to Goldberg in like 8 seconds.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
I think if that story had happened maybe about like 2016, 2017, maybe. But like the clamor for Dolph Ziggler was gone. You did have Samoa Joe at the time.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, like we're talking about a administration that wasn't looking to put these particular wrestlers on the forefront, which kind of goes into like my next point. And like I said, we'll go back to you, JC. We are 2 months. This is March 26th. We are maybe 2 months from the debut of AEW's first official show. Right, AEW had just been announced. I believe January 1st.
Earlier that year.
Of that year, right? So there's now this, for the first time since WCW went out, and like I said, I'm not counting TNA, a company that has the financial backing and support that can go up against WWE, right? So now we're looking at like I know for me, me and my friends, we were very much like, yo, what does this mean? Like, we can see such and such go over to AEW. Like, somebody can finally get this push. And you had brought it up earlier. I do believe a lot of what we saw at WrestleMania 39 was in response to an AEW, right? If there's no, just to say another thing, the next week, WrestleMania weekend, is the first Madison Square Garden show. I think Ring of Honor and New Japan put it on, and they sold out, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think this particular storyline, Kofimania, happens if there's no AEW? If there's no AEW, does Kofi Kingston get the spot at WrestleMania?
Oof.
You want to start, Chaz?
Ooh, yeah. Oh, okay. I'll say yeah. I'll say yes. I do think, however, because at this point I'm assuming you could really tell that although who the admin was and who X, Y, and Z was. Yes, you know what? I said it back. Absolutely. Because it's Bryan Danielson who he's facing versus Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Rock, Stone Cold, kind of the idea, right? Like, Bryan Danielson had reached the status quo. But I'm pretty sure in the background, Vince was like, any opportunity I get, I'm going to fuck you over, right? Background-wise, because we know historically what he goes for. So I think because of who the opponent was and how much they were connected, again, 5 years ago, he was in the same position, and they alluded to that before Vince drove off in the limo, was like, can a B-plus player beat Daniel Bryan? Like, Bryan Danielson at the time, right? Everything that was connecting the dots for it to happen because of who the opponent was. If the opponent is somebody else, unfortunately, I'll probably say no, even with the clamor of people, because of the track record from what I saw, what I heard of Brock Roman, and so forth. Because it was Bryan Danielson, and because of what was going on, because of the clamor, I think it was just so many elements hitting at one time. Was like, you'd be a fool not to knock this out of the park. And like you said, the cherry on top was you got somebody coming on the back end with some steam.
It could also be a thing where, they probably know that their contract with USA is going to expire for SmackDown. And later that year, SmackDown Live goes to Fox. And that is a huge deal for them, to the point where it almost seems like Raw is no longer the flagship show for the first time in 25 years. Like, I remember my brother and I, when we were kids, watching Fit Finlay take on MVP and Matt Hardy and, that era of SmackDown, and thinking, 2006, 2007, right?
Yes, sir.
Paul London and Brian Kendrick were like the tag team champions for a year, and it was awesome. They know they're getting ready to make a big jump in terms of network television. And Vince is probably thinking, I'm going to have Brock on there anyway. We all saw what happened on that debut show with Kofi Kingston, where that really just showed you like, oh, okay, yeah, you were great for this season, but like Brock is our guy. Brock, we think Brock is the needle mover. We think Brock is the pusher, right? So,
JC, you triggering me, man. You triggering me.
I know.
Brother.
Trust me. I almost dropped out. I almost dropped out of wrestling entirely after seeing that.
Let me tell you, October 4th, 2019 will go down as...
Is that the date? You know the date off the top of your head.
I remember exactly what I was doing. I probably the closest I've ever came to being done with wrestling. Because I thought that like it was such a slap in the face to somebody that had like been a long employee for WWE, right? I just thought it was so disrespectful. But like you're saying, like Vince had his like it was not Brock, it was Roman. If it's not Roman, it's Brock, right? And like I said, as the wrestling fan, you clamor for something different, right? That's why NXT took off the way it did, right? Because for the first time under a WWE umbrella, you saw high quality wrestler. We're talking Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa,
Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah, the Undisputed Era, Ember Moon, like Shayna Baszler was cooking.
Shayna Baszler, Kairi Sane, early Rhea Ripley, early Bianca Belair. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Aleister Black.
Yeah, we're at Ricochet. We're getting the Cruiserweight Classic. We're getting the Mae Young Classic. Like we're getting high quality pro wrestling. Then on a flip side, you have the Elite, right? You have Kenny. You have the Bucks, a young Hangman. You know what I mean? Like, which I don't care what nobody says. Like. They were the driving force of American audiences watching New Japan, right? So you're getting all these things that are happening, but then on your Raw and SmackDown, you're seeing stupid storylines. You're seeing storylines that don't make sense. You're seeing like literally a mockery of the industry.
You know that's what kept me away from NXT?
What's that, bro?
I said, that's what kept me away from NXT for the longest. So I missed all of that. I missed what you just said, all of it. The early stages of the names you just mentioned, on top of Red Dragon, on top of Adam Cole group, like all of it.
Yeah.
Because of I was scared because I was like, ooh, this is what I wanted. This is what I've always wanted. I wasn't just like a fan where I am now, but I was like, this is different. But because of what was going on in the main, my nigga, I was fearful as hell.
Dude, you got to remember, like, there was a legit concern, like, Kofi was going to Mania and he was not going to win. That was a real thing. I remember we were even talking like, oh, Kofi going to win and Brock is going to somehow weasel his way into the match. Like, that was a real thing for us. Because WWE just had this ability of like, oh, here's this, let's just drop the ball 100%, right?
It's cold comfort to know that we're on the better timeline, I suppose.
It's all right. It's all right.
It'll only be a few more months until Jericho won the belt over at AEW and like, solidified that as like a real program, you know. So,
hey, look, WWE's credit, like, you know what I mean? Like, they definitely struck lightning in a bottle 3 times in this period. Like I said, nobody was touching Becky Lynch in 2019. Nobody was touching Kofi, and nobody was touching Seth, right? But at the same time, it was just like you were getting ready for it. It was like you were like actively preparing yourself for disappointment. Did you feel like that, JC? Like, did you get a sense of disappointment, especially in this buildup, right? This whole buildup to Kofimania, like they could have just easily pulled the rug at any moment.
I think that's why the tag team gauntlet match, and to a larger extent, Kofimania in general, hit so hard. Is because as a WWE fan, you were conditioned to be disappointed. You were conditioned to not get your hopes up because you were like, anytime something cool does show up, the rug gets pulled out underneath it, right? And sometimes we get our Christmas, you know, we get our WrestleMania 30s with Daniel Bryan winning the big one, and we get well, I can't really think of another example right now, but that's what you would go into thinking. You would think like, oh, maybe it'll be different this time, and then you face plant because Vince, you know, has his guys, he has his Brocks, his Romans, and he shoves it down our throat. And then anytime he does try to take a risk, you got your Finn Balor, who was strapped the rocket to him right out of the gate, and then he gets injured, right? And then you have Shinsuke Nakamura, who they couldn't even get off the ground, you know? So like it doesn't make sense to me that they wouldn't take Kofimania and then have it have longevity. Have Brock beat him up backstage, have him have to relinquish the belt, and then have Brock win it in a battle royale where he crushes everyone. That way you protect Kofi, right? And then we don't act like this Kofimania thing never happened, right? Then you can smash the glass in case of emergency and bring out Kofi Kingston like you were for John Cena, who was retired. Because Roman is now with leukemia. Dean Ambrose is on his way out of the company, right? Who does that leave you with? You know, Triple H, I'm pretty sure, retired later that year too. So it's like you can't even lean on him anymore either, right? So
it is absolutely,
I don't know.
I was gonna say it is absolutely crazy. I forgot that Dean Ambrose at this time had given his notice to WWE.
Right.
WWE. I forgot. Completely forgot.
He's big mask on, and he's like trying to like start fires in a backstage thing, and of course it's like, oh, this is such good shit. Like, no, dude, it sucks. Just release it, right?
EC3, like it was embarrassing, bro. It was wicked times. But with that being said, right, we talking about one of the best stories they've ever put together, right?
At least in the modern era, yeah.
Right, but also like, and I guess we can now like kind of go into the actual match, right? Because there's potholes that I think the moment is so beautiful that we forget like how we even get here, right? And there's this underlying tone in this particular storyline of Vince McMahon telling Kofi that he's a B-level player, which I feel like was hitting coded.
Man,
it was such a hitting coded thing that I knew they weren't going to go there because they're PG at this time. They're very big on the sponsors, but all you got to do is read between the lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
This story was about Kofi Kingston is not good enough to be WWE champion because he's black. And I feel like if you ignore that part, then you're missing the whole point of this entire story. They can't say it, but it is there. And it was no clearer than the opening of SmackDown when the New Day are in the ring. They're talking. They are talking about quitting. They're talking about retiring. And then Vince does his double waddle to the ring. You know what I mean? Looking more like, at this point, Vince is a statue. He looks like wax, right?
Even
Disgusting.
hearing him talking, it just sounds like he has phlegm in his throat all the time. He sounds like he's already dead, you know? Like,
Bro. But like I said, like they start this thing, man, like, and I feel like it just ruined the whole vibe. Not even for what we know of Vince McMahon today, but like, I feel like by this point we have completely bypassed the need for the Mr. McMahon character, right? So him being a part of this storyline, I felt like it was such a, like, I see what they were doing, and that part failed miserably. What do y'all think?
The B+ player felt like an N-word. I'm gonna start there. I decided to go watch it. I did a deep dive. I was like, I'm gonna start at the Gauntlet and work my way down. And yeah, that's the vibe I got the whole time. I was nothing different, nothing more nor less. It is what it is. And again, I wanted to try to do the connection where it was like B+ player. Again, I wanted to do the connection between that and Bryan Danielson versus that and Vince, because I remember the whole saga before Bryan got the big two. I remember how that played out. I thought it was well done. I thought Tripp's stuff and BD along with Randy and Batista, they knocked it out the park. And that's where I wanted to go with this saga. But like you said, wrong person. You know what I mean? Because this person, I don't want to give Hunter too much credit, but Vince is not Hunter. Meaning in the wrestling sense, wrestling aspect. And I'll stop there. Yeah, like you said, it failed me because you try to make this about you. You try to make this your decision, how you felt. You didn't want to. You barely recognized BD. You damn sure didn't want to recognize Kofi. So the B+ player, man, I thought that was probably the whole chink in the armor of this. Because if you take that away and take Vince away, everything up to that point, the matches, the storyline, how everybody was building up on Bryan Danielson knocked it out the park with his heel work. Rowan did his part. You take away Vince, A+ across the board. So,
JC, what do you think about, bro?
It's catch-22 for me. You know, like, part of me agrees with Chaz, where it's saying, like, if we remove Vince from the whole equation, then it's certainly a more cohesive story. It's certainly less about Vince, because even at the end of that episode, like you said before, you know, we're going to Vince and he's like, let's see if we can, you know, like, we end the last note is like you said, it's about him. Now, part of me also thinks, like, now, and I'm not a black man, I don't know if you can tell, but I would think that it helps that it's Vince, because it's like, okay, he's the top of WWE at this point, right? And so by being him and him being proven wrong, he's now like saying, like, okay, I was wrong about this. You are an A+ player, and that kind of thing too. But that also falls on his face as well because of what we see with Brock Lesnar. It's like, okay, you had your fun. We let you have the belt for a little bit. Now it's time for you to go back down the card and be the New Day and throw the pancakes and do bootios. Okay, big reveal. I did it. I got it. So, you know, I think it's important that Vince does. I think it's important that it's Vince. Could you have replaced him with a Triple H? Could you have replaced him with like a Nick Aldis or a, you know, of course they weren't there at the time, but an Adam Pearce, another authority figure? Sure. But I think, say again?
Shane McMahon was there. Like,
Shane was there. Was he a heel or was he?
Shane was there.
Shane at this point was a heel.
Shane
then
was there.
Give it to Shane. And I could also see Shane wanting to be like, well, I don't want to come off as a racist, or I don't want to come off as this or the other. Because we're like, oh, sure, buddy. We're no one's accusing you of that, buddy. Like, but you're definitely beating those allegations.
let me tell you, if Shane McMahon was involved in this storyline, we were definitely getting Kofi versus Shane for the WWE title.
And you know what?
But Shane
Book
McMahon,
it. Book it.
Hey, I'll tell you this. It wasn't Brock and it wasn't Roman. Let's have it. Let's watch it. I haven't seen it. Let's watch
Say what you will, say what you want. Shane could hoop, buddy.
it.
I think when it comes to like Vince in this storyline, I feel like one of the missed opportunities was at Mania. Kofi has the title. You know, you do everything, the full celebration, and like Kofi walks backstage. You know, you're walking past Gorilla, right? It would have been dope if Kofi and Vince had this face-off, and Vince had shook his hand, right? I think that would have been a big solidification of like, okay, you've proven me wrong. You're not a B+ player. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to go any further than that. Just a handshake and to keep it moving. Like you were.
I agree with you. I'll take it a step further. I'll say instead of X and Big E presenting Kofi with the restored WWE Championship, the non-hemp Planets Champion one, have Vince do it the next night on SmackDown. Have him present it to Kofi, and then have I believe he started feuding with Randy Orton after that. Have Randy Orton interrupt that coronation or whatever, right? But prove it to the fans that you do back this guy, that you do believe in him. He's selling the T-shirts. He bought, he got the belt. Hand him the belt. Let's see. Then you can feel good about yourself because look at you presenting this to a black man for, ostensibly the first time. Like, yeah, I know you said Rock is like part black, but like when you look at Rock, you're not thinking of a black man, right? You're thinking of a Samoan gentleman, right? Like Kofi is undeniably a black man, African man. Like you guys have been doing so much with like Connor's Cure and like the anti-bullying, and you're getting more and more progressive, at least on the face of WWE, right? Why not be the one to do that, right? I say that about this current political administration. I'm like, man, if you want people to love you so much, then give people healthcare, right? Like be the one to do it, right? Like, I don't know. I've never run a wrestling company before, so I can't say for sure.
And absolutely, but like I said, like the core of all this, right? You like I'm not diminishing like what this meant. Like I said, Kofi Kingston winning the WWE Championship, one of the proudest things I've ever watched as a fan, as a black man. Like it very impactful. It pains me knowing that it very much felt like we're giving you this championship not because we want to, like we see Kofi Kingston main eventing SummerSlams, main eventing WrestleManias. It very much felt like, all right, here. You know what I mean? I'm not Vince McMahon. I can't speak for if Vince McMahon was genuinely happy giving him the championship. Like I don't want to dive into that deep into this, right? But like I said, the Brock Lesnar winning the WWE title in that fashion, 4 seconds, told me everything I needed to know what he thought about Kofi Kingston as a WWE champion, right? But with that being said, kind of going back to your point, JC, while I wish he wasn't a part of the story, he was integral to this story, right? Chaz, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, and so in with the knowledge that was in it, y'all both make excellent points, and I agree. And I guess I would have to do my best to kind of separate my love for the culture, right? To be just, let me just try to keep this as scrappy as possible. I will give credit due. The times where Vince was necessary for the story, he maximized his part. Obviously with him and Stone Cold, that's legendary. But yeah, he did what was necessary to make sure, like, the moment when it happened, it was like, yeah, told you. You know what I'm saying? Told you I could do it. But damn, when you kind of doing shows like this, or you kind of put things in perspective, and you know how everything else played out, like you said, with Brock Lesnar, and how the fact that when is the last time you can remember Kofi was back in the main event title picture? Got it.
I think they mentioned it like on Raw a couple weeks ago, like just offhandedly, like, "Well, I'm a former WWE champion." And it's just
That's the only time.
Yeah.
He has to say it. He has to be the one. We know, we're aware. We put him up there every time we talk about champions and moments and things like that. But if you was casual, and this is the most heartbreaking thing of it all, if you're just a casual, you probably would know Big E's reign more than you would know what happened with Kofi. And if we're gonna keep it a buck, and no shade to Big E, obviously not. Kofimania was impactful as fuck. But a lot of the casuals don't know that. And that's, I think, the most telling of all of this, what we're talking about. The moment should be celebrated even more because of how significant it truly was. Not just for us, but for, like you said, what was coming on the back end. This was for the streets. This was for the real hardcore wrestling rap fans. Of like, yo, we don't need a big dude. We don't need a big name. Just give us somebody who we like, who we rock with, who gives us a workhorse. And we can believe in that, and he can carry the ship. He can carry the torch. I know it works. You know how? Because CM Punk did it. Dan Bryanson did it. Not comparing, but what I'm saying is that the mold of what Vince was used to, those two individuals were none like that. Obviously, the skin tone is quite heavy in this situation. I'm very aware of that. But you can lead a company without a traditional world heavyweight champion.
I just want to say, and like I said, I'm just saying this in passing. This is definitely a conversation for another day. But there's a conversation, right? Because what I'm about to say, we could really spend the rest of the episode, and we don't got that type of time. There is a conversation to be had about why wrestling historians, fans, pundits don't really consider Black wrestlers in the category of the greatest of all time, right? So when you're bringing up Punk and you're bringing up Daniel Bryan, right? And we're talking about three Black men that have done significant things in this industry. Kofi in particular, right? Kofi has been wrestling since 2006. Probably one of the most decorated champions of all time, right?
Decorated.
In my eyes, Kofi Kingston is one of the greatest of all time. But depending on who you talk to, you don't really see it, right?
Well, this is what sucks about that, is that he has the same number of WWE Championship reigns as Jinder Mahal.
Look, Jinder was fired too.
Oh no!
But that's a good point.
And look at it. Jinder was also strapped the rocket to because they had no stars coming in. They didn't know how to make their new guys or make their current guys top stars because they put all their money, all their bets on Roman Reigns.
And
they leaned on Brock Lesnar for that.
That once again, see, this is why I didn't want to bring this up initially, because we could definitely be talking about this all night.
Yeah, we're an hour in. We haven't even talked about the match we're supposed to be talking.
we about to get there. But all I'm saying is, like,
Jinder is a victim of absolute circumstance. They could have given him a better story. They could have given him a better opportunity. I'm saying for like Kofi, right? And I'm looking at like Dave Meltzer's, and I'm looking at like the people that like who do you consider the greatest of all time? You can't look at the accolades of Kofi Kingston and not put him there, because Kofi has shown up tremendously, showed up match-wise, storyline-wise. I thought Kofi was a great talker too. You know what I mean? Like, you talk about all-time baby faces. Somebody might kill me. I don't really care, right? I do this shit. When you talk about all-time baby faces, Kofi is top 5, in my opinion. Kofi knew how to get a crowd going. There's a reason why this is not Dolph Mania, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is Kofi Mania, right? This story stamped it in my eyes that Kofi can make the argument being one of the greatest of all time. But in order to get there, you have to have a match. Because at this point, Vince McMahon said, you're not getting a match, right? And it's now up to Xavier Woods and Big E to go through a tag team gauntlet to get Kofi into that spot. So here we are. We're finally here. An hour in, we're at the match. We made it, boys. We made it. This is the main event of the show. We you know what I mean? We have Big E, Xavier, and their first tag team is the atrocious team of Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Man.
Too sweet, me brother.
Hey, bro.
Hey, too sweet.
You know, Chaz. You know what I mean? We'll pack it up.
Here, there's your thumbnail. Or here. There's your thumbnail right there.
Look, Carl Anderson, good wrestler. Luke Gallows, 2 packs of ass. Did y'all have an opinion of either of these two buffoons in this match?
We can move on. I can move on.
Well, I would like to say, you know, I'm eager to talk about this. So I do like this part of the story where it's like, Kofi, you had your chance last week and you lost, even if it was, you know, a dusty finish. You lost. But now Vince is saying, I'm going to put it in the hands of your friends because your friends are threatening to quit. And then I think Vince is trying to go, or whoever's writing this is saying, like, Vince is trying to get the best out of all of them. And you could probably argue, someone with a lesser mind would probably argue that that's his intention based on his reaction to the end of the night where he's like, let's see if he can do it. You know, like he's trying to be the boss that tries to get the best out of, which I don't buy for a second, by the way. But I do like that it's like, okay, they're a team, right? And it's up to the team to get Kofi there. And it just brings the power positivity, the power of friendship. It makes it more because it gives us more stakes for what the rest of the New Day is going to do. As far as Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, you know, a lot of wasted potential, which is probably what you could say about WWE in general around this time. But, you know, they're there to do their thing. They're not there for very long. It was fun.
You know how if I was in a tag team and like our friend's livelihood was in the line, do you know how fucking excited I'd be to see Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows? I'd be like, oh, this is like, this is a light day. We good. We starting off.
Right.
I think they were in the room a minute 30. Nothing. They added nothing to this match, just like they do wrestling wise. They added nothing. Just tragic, just horrible. Like, I'm sorry, you will never hear me say good things about either. Like, I'm thinking this is 2019, right? If I had the book, the team I would have had first would have been FTR because they're still in WWE at this time.
Were they in the main roster at that point?
They were in the main roster, I believe.
Yeah, I guess they would have had to have been because AEW was coming up.
Yeah. So at this time, they're the Revival. So I think that would have been they probably would have ended the same way. They probably would have been a minute 30. But I would have booked this as like every match is going to be like a challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
It don't start like that with Carl Anderson and Gallows.
Did you like him in New Japan?
Did you like Carl Anderson, or excuse me, Luke Gallows as Festus from Jesse and Festus?
Brother, we talked about this earlier. Festus was great. Festus was fire, right? Carl Anderson, like I said, Bullet Club, fire. We at this time, this is 2019. This is not 2014. We passed the point for them.
Dude, I cannot believe that you don't like a gimmick where a guy, a massive man who had Tylenol when he was in his mom's womb, goes crazy berserk when the bell rings. What a great... I can hear Vince laughing in the back. Oh, this is such great shit.
If they ever pulled up my old like forum days, I was actively calling for Festus to get a world title. It is. Don't even get that yet. Don't get it twisted, bro. I was.
Oh boy.
Up, you know? But they go through that. They go through that spell. Like they're still breathing good. Next up is Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. And I need somebody, please, to explain to me how the fuck did we get a Shinsuke Nakamura Rusev tag team? Like, I have no recollection of this at all.
I thought it's crazy because I was like, was Shinsuke part of the League of Nations?
That's what I was. I too was shocked. I was like, wait a minute. Wait, was he part of the League of
That
Nations?
Shinsuke? Did he come earlier? What the fuck?
So
I don't know about that one. I was lost too.
So I remember during the pandemic that Shinsuke was teaming with Cesaro. I thought that's who the team was. And then Rusev came out. I was like, how did we get here? Shinsuke at this time, I think my man was deep into surfing. He was here to collect that bag. Rusev was just there. What did y'all think of this tag team of I don't even got a name for them. I was going to come up with something clever. They're not worthy of that.
Ugh. I don't like it when tag teams are like two single stars put together with no cohesion, right? Or if you're going to do the enemies to friends thing, which is what happened with the Bar with Sheamus and Cesaro, and you actually give them something to chew on, then I think it's great and you actually get something out of it. But when you just put two guys together because one of them is a failed main eventer who you had bigger hopes for because people were singing his praises in New Japan and then also singing his song in NXT, right? And then you're giving him wins against John Cena, but then you're not giving him the big one with AJ Styles, which, like, I'll never understand why that happened. But look, it frustrates me to no end when they just hobble people together because they simply don't know what to do with them. Like, just put one of them on another brand, or like we're seeing now, send them back to NXT. Like, give them something to do, let them have value outside of that, right? So anyway, it's a nothing thing. That's the thing. There's no chemistry between these two. They have no cohesion. They're just doing their moves one at a time. You know, it's frustrating.
Dude, you even got to remember, like, you talked about Shinsuke. I think we were maybe a few months removed from Rusev Day. Like, Rusev Day had just wrapped up. And, you know, that, and once again, we're talking about a time period where, like, legit stars were being formed on their own. Like, Rusev Day just organically got over, right? You look at Shinsuke. Like, people wanted Shinsuke to be WWE champion. None of these things happened. So it was like, oh, we don't have nothing for you. We don't have nothing for you. Let's put y'all together. And y'all are just there, right? Chaz, what did you think?
Like I said, I thought Shinsuke was a part of the league. I thought maybe, you know, he slid past me, slid past us. It was no fanfare. He was like maybe a security guard randomly, and then they was like, all right, here you go. Yeah, it did nothing for me. I just like, all right, again, to another placeholder, just like the previous, until we get to when we get to. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I looked at it. And then I guess again, I just started to tap back in, so I didn't know, like, maybe the tag team landscape wasn't that strong at the time. Don't know. But then I also remember it was 2019, and then I also remember what happened in 2019 Roman Reigns and that dog food. So
I mean, and you know what I mean? Like, they did their thing. They did their point in the match. The point of their part was to essentially start softening up
right
Xavier and Big E. One thing I want to make mention, because it's been what 4 years now since we have seen a Biggie wrestle. Man, I forgot how incredible Biggie was in the ring, man. I genuinely have missed, like, he for like I said, being 300 pounds, muscular, like Biggie can move, man.
He
Biggie,
should not be as agile as he was. He should not be able to have moved the way he did.
he was just phenomenal, bro. Like, it, like I've always been partial to Kofi and Biggie as the tag team, but Xavier and Biggie are so underrated and excellent chemistry. Xavier Woods, once again, when we're talking about amazing wrestlers, Xavier is, I feel like, one of those type of wrestlers, like, even in his age, as long as he's been doing, I feel like we still haven't seen the best of Xavier Woods.
I agree.
Yeah. So like I said, at this point in the match, they're softening it up, getting softened up for the next team. They beat Rusev and Nakamura. The next team, the Bar. Fucking Sheamus, Claudio Castagnoli as Cesaro. To me, the best makeshift tag team in all time, bro. Like, I love the Bar. They, man. Talk to me.
Odd couple on steroids, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the perfect, I was saying it before, it's the perfect, like, enemies to friends story for them, right? And they were doing these brawls, they were fighting backstage, and then they decide, hey, we're gonna be a unit now, we're gonna work together. And then they ran roughshod on the tag division after that for like over a year, I think. And I remember when I watched this match for the first time and seeing them, and I was thinking, damn, how is Xavier Woods and Big E gonna get over this mountain, right? And when they do, and it's in what, like a roll-up fashion, I think. Yeah, he rolls up Sheamus. Yeah, and then a big point of contention was when they're out of the Gauntlet match. The crowd is cheering because they're like, "Oh shit, we got a chance here." And then normally, and I think we talked about this, Nick. Normally, when a superstar pulls out a chair or a table, the place is pretty ruckus. Like, we love our violence. We're bloodthirsty, right?
The crowd was sick.
But then, as Sheamus is now pissed about the laws, he's now beating them up, knowing that there are more teams coming in, and the heat from the crowd is so real. It is so tangible. It's like they're like, "Wow, fuck you guys. We are really rooting for these guys." And it's not just because he has the catchphrase. It's not just because of that. We really want these guys to win, right? And so then when you're seeing a whole table being brought out, and then Big E being put through it, oh man, it was palpable.
My wife is here, everybody.
Hello.
I will say this about the aspect of, like, facial expressions are so important in wrestling. When the Bar's music hit, you saw a genuine concern on their face. Like, they sold it because in theory, like, what's about to happen. We're not talking about, like, Rusev and Nakamura, they're hard hitting, but this is a different level of hard hitting. Like, they've been in the ring with the Bar at this point. Like, they know, like, this is not going to be no easy cakewalk. And, like, you kind of play into the story. Like, if you can get through the Bar, you have a legit chance, right? Another part I loved is, like, they worked on Big E's knee. Like, they completely worked the knee to where, like, you're essentially taking away his base, right? So it makes it easier for you to, cut off the middleman, just keep doing what they're doing. And then by the time we get to the hot tag is exactly that. The crowd is going crazy. Do you think this was the part of the match that, like, this told the most. This not to what we're getting to next, because like I said, that was the best part of the match. But like for the bar New Day part, do you think that told a great story as far as like, man, we got to get through the bar, but if we can, we're pretty
I
much.
think the ending. I think how they put Big E through the table probably was the most selling match, because I've always learned, who's ever the person getting knocked down, the person standing up gonna lose, right? So I've used it as my cheat code for some of our picks. Like, oh yeah, this is what happens, JC, when you are on the learning tree. I don't. Anyway,
That's exactly why you're watching.
So when I saw that was like, oh, we got a shot. Oh, this could be something, because the way that now, like you said, the reactions were everything. The face reactions are everything. Even more so, the despair in the bodies of Xavier and E after going through hell, going through the table, you would think that should be it. But if you know, like I said, knowing that and just knowing how everything was going, this felt like a superhero kind of ending that was happening. They're going through hell. They get knocked. Yes, they should be looking like this. Yes, you should have put it through the table. Because now when the wins happen, it's that much sweeter, because you went through fire and brimstone to get back here. And the way you close it out.
And like I said, you know, I mean, they beat the bar. The bar snaps. They go crazy. They put Big E through the table, right? So, you know, the crowd at this point is like JC was saying, like they're dejected. They're like, fuck. And then, you know, you hear, ooh, so. And it's the Usos, Jimmy and Jay. You know, there's no yeeting at this time. You know what I mean? There's no Big Jim. You know what I mean? These are just two brothers that, you know what I mean, like they're great.
Just dogs, straight dogs.
Yeah.
It's not paranoia. It's the Uso penitentiary.
Come on. Yes. And when you talk about a premium tag team rivalry, the Usos and the New Day, like, they've never missed, in my opinion. Like, the greatest WWE tag team feud, in my opinion. I mean, truthfully, I put them in my top 5 of my favorite tag teams. Like, I never understood why the Usos got the hate they did. To this day, I still don't get why the Usos get the hate they do. But like, as far as like bringing out the best of each other, the Usos and the New Day, they did it. And I completely forgot about the nickel belts that they, you know what I mean, like as tag team titles. Fucking atrocious, bro. But
yeah, with the blue straps to indicate what brand they were on. Yeah, we were doing that. Look, the match at that point, especially, and I'll bring it back to when my then girlfriend was watching with me as we were watching for the first time. She knows, because she loves the New Day. She knows those matches with the Usos. She knows those wars that they went through with that Hell in a Cell match, all those different matches that they had. And when their music hits, Corey Graves says something like, oh, it's over, or something like that. And the crowd believes it because the air is sucked out of the room. My girlfriend is like, now, like her feet are like, she's perched up like an owl on the couch, totally invested. And I was just thinking, like, man, I wish I was a kid watching this right now, because although my suspension of disbelief can't be completely eliminated as an adult, if I were a child watching this, I would be salivating just watching this happen, right? And then as they come to the ring, and then they go for the mic, and to your point, Scotland, where you're saying, like, you know, Xavier Woods' facial expressions, and this match is really a masterclass in expressive emoting, like like non-wrestling storytelling, if you will. It was incredible, especially when they make that thing where they say that they're like, hey, everybody here knows you guys deserve this, right? Everyone knows you have our respect. You have their respect, right? The people in the crowd get a big pop because they're like, yeah, we're invested too. This is also us fighting with Xavier Woods, with Kofi, with Big E, right? So we have stake in it, right? And then it keeps cutting back to the backstage where Kofi and all the faces in the locker room are watching the match, like biting their nails, cheering every time they get a pinfall, right? So when he says you have the respect of everyone in that locker room, we as the viewer agree with that because we see it. We see everyone. We see the literal, like the visual interpretation of what Kofimania represents. Whereas all these people that are building up, kind of like how during Daniel Bryan's run for the belts, they had all those people with the yes shirts on come into the ring and like the whole Occupy Wall Street type thing. This was huge. And I'm going to steal the thunder just because I love this bit where he says, so Uce, good luck to you because we forfeit. And then Corey Graves yells, wow. And I thought, and again, with who was in the room with me, with what I was watching, I thought, this is incredible, right? And then that part even had a payoff too, because I'm pretty sure Vince like punished the Usos like the following night on SmackDown, where whatever happened. It's not important, I guess, but no, it was incredible. And keep in mind the crowd to this point doesn't know how many competitors there are in this Gauntlet match. They're so how long is the Gauntlet? Are they going to throw more tag teams together? Are the Hardys going to come out next? Who knows? But then the announcer, I forgot his name, says there is one more team for them to overcome, or whatever it is he says, right? And of course, we cut back to Daniel Bryan and Rowan getting pissed that the Usos have forfeited. Because if I were Daniel Bryan, I'd be pissed too. I'd be like, oh, the Usos are next, and the New Day's already beaten up to a pulp. Easy money. An off day WrestleMania, right? So because we just saw them tearing up the backstage, we're not immediately thinking that they're going to come out next. But then Cry of the Valkyrie starts, and the Planets champion comes out with Rowan, and they are on a mission. And it's like, how are they going to do this, right? And Kofi is barred from ringside, so it's not even like he can come out and save the day. So anyway, I took over there. You go ahead.
No. We were gonna let you rock. We were easy to go rock.
I like wrestling. I love wrestling. I agree with
even down to I'll get to you to get your thoughts, Chaz. But like one aspect going back to like when the Usos came out, and it's very subtle, but like it's very like prominent. Is the Usos like they get in the ring and like they're hyped. They're like, yo, get them up. And like Xavier Woods is like helping Big E. Like Big E's still out of it, but Xavier Woods has the stance like he's ready. Like if necessary, he will fight the Usos because you're fighting for your best friend's livelihood, right? Which goes into that brotherhood of the New Day, right? That's the most important aspect of this entire match. They're like, when you look at it, like Xavier Woods and Big E get nothing out of this. You know what I mean? Like they're not getting a tag team title shot. They're not getting a spot at WrestleMania. They're fighting for their brother's opportunity to be in WrestleMania. That is fucking powerful storytelling in itself, right? The Usos saying they forfeit is such a beautiful moment because, like you said, you're being told as the viewer, everybody respects you guys. Everybody respects Kofi Kingston. Them forfeiting and the crowd going crazy, it's literally like a sign of hope. Like, oh shit, like if the Usos are gonna forfeit, we really might lock this in. Incredible storytelling, man. It's bar none. Chaz, what do you think, bro?
I echo everything. Like I said, man, those couple months of Kofimania all the way up till the big show was just such a magical ride. It was the inner kid. Like you said, the inner kid, like you said, JC, like, man, I wish I could go back and experience, because the inner kid was definitely living through this moment. I was like, yo, I'm gonna come back. It has to be something that's real and significant. I came back at the right time because it was Well, officially I came back in 2023, but like I was making my move way in 2019 because of Kofi, and I was like, all right, there's a change coming. I don't know what this change looks like, but this change is coming, and when I come back, it'll probably look different. So, like you said, man, the match, the lead up, the payoff. It just gave you hope, right? It gave you hope. Like, man, all right, you know what? This admin might be something else, and the policyholders might be something else, and the stockholder might be something else. But if we come together, and if we and now I hate to sound corny as fuck, but like if we come together and really push some shit and really believe in some shit, and really stick with it, because like I said, the two things fans are impatient and fickle. But neither one of those things happened. It was a perfect storm of everything that needed to happen for Kofimania to exceed. And I know a lot of people say the payoff was him winning. No, we had many payoffs all the way up to the part. The Usos and that was a mini payoff. That was like, absolutely. We get this moment, we get to come back here and be like, remember when A-Usos said we fought? Yo, that's a moment we can hold on to. We get the moment. Remember when Big E did what he did to get the dub? We can hold on to that. Those are moments when we like, and then he's like, remember when Kofi? We got so many things on this run that if you were a casual, just come back and you was like, you know, I'm just gonna be here and I'm gonna dip. Like me, I was like, you know what? I got hope. If you were somebody that was in the trenches like Scotland was, and like you said, you were just tapping into different things, but you saw that, there's hope. If you were someone like yourself that even though you really didn't have anything else and you would just die hard WWE, even though you hated it, you was like, I gotta stick in it because I gotta see if it comes out on the other end. It was hope. Hope was like the underlying current of this whole story. And to get a payoff like that, that's why it's like you can never really leave this game truly, because every so often you'll have a moment where it's like, okay, they care about us and we appreciate them.
Would the, you know what I mean? Because like the final team was Daniel Bryan, Rowan, who I loved together. Like they didn't make sense, but they made perfect sense. They were, I really like their chemistry together. But do you think the moment would have been even doper if like the Usos were the last tag team? Like let's say that like they swapped and it was Bryan and Rowan beforehand. Like let's say like Bryan and Rowan kind of do the same thing that the Bar does, like another continuous beatdown, like maybe a more vicious beatdown, and then the Usos are the last team, and then they forfeit, and it's an automatic like win for the New Day. Do you think that would have been a doper moment, or do you think what happened was perfect the way it was?
I think it would have been a more impactful moment. I don't think doper. I think how everything played out with that, it felt perfect. It felt right because again, it was the whole superhero kind of trope where, and it played out perfectly. Getting fucked up. Glimmer of hope. Oh man, he's coming back. Oh man, he might do it. Dun dun dun. Thanos. Not just Thanos with all the tips. You know what I mean? Shit. Now what? So I think, honestly, man, in my opinion, I think it was perfect because it was a roller coaster, right? It was a roller coaster of emotions. And like you said, Scott, given the regime, you weren't sure. You had this could all go away. We could be doing nothing. We'd be back in the same shit. They let it play out. Hope just kept flowing no matter what. So I think for me, it was perfect.
JC, what do you think, man?
Look, you watch any other sport, and no one likes a blowout. Even if your team wins, no one likes it when it's 100-2, right? We get more emotionally invested. We bite our nails more when the score is like this close, and it's literally anyone's game, and you're in the final quarter, right? And there's seconds on the clock left, and it could literally go either way. That's what we're invested in. So to have it to where you have those ups and downs, like you were saying, Chaz, and then having a non-wrestling moment, one of the most impactful non-wrestling moments since what? Miss Elizabeth and Macho Man reunite after Sensational Sherry beats the shit out of him, right? Like, those are big moments, right? That's what we live for as storytellers. And so to see that character development of the Usos saying like, hey, we're normally bad guys, but we respect y'all. And y'all are going to respect us more because of what we're about to do. And then having Daniel Bryan and Rowan come out. And then it'd be like, okay, maybe if I wish this hard enough, if I hope this enough, then they'll pull it out because the odds are against them, right? And then the way it happens too, like you were saying, Chaz, it's perfect because it also protects them. Because that's a big deal. If you're going to have your world champion lose 2 weeks before WrestleMania, that's no good. You put the table over. We know Rowan could push that table over. We know it's made of paper mache, whatever, right? But he's not responding to the 10 count, right? And it keeps Kofi in there. And then, well, now I'm getting ahead of you, but
No, you're
it's
good.
the locker room does come out. And instead of doing the whole like, oh, we're gonna pick you up and like, do that thing, they are around the ring. And yes, and they're doing this, and to me, especially if you pay close attention to Kevin Owens, who again has kind of had a falling down from grace where he had the Universal Championship and then had to lose it to Goldberg. If you see the intensity of which he does it, you can tell that he's living vicariously through Kofi now, right? And he is slamming the shit out of this ring, as is everyone else.
I want to add something because I think this gets not ignored, but doesn't get talked about too much. As I was watching, I was going back and watching everything played out. That started all the way to the beginning. This felt real, right? None of this felt kayfabe. None of this felt like it was meant. No,
it was organic.
Everything felt pretty real. Everything felt pretty raw. I didn't get a sense of we're just doing this for the paycheck. No, I got a sense of no, we really love Kofi. We really love this guy.
Absolutely. Like, I feel like the reactions that you saw, like, like they're pro wrestlers. They know like this
right.
I feel like the reactions you saw in every moment from this match to the reaction of like when he won the title were 100% genuine. I think people were genuinely happy for Kofi. Like,
yeah.
Because it's like, how can you not be?
Right.
Let me ask you this. Byron Saxton coming off of commentary to be like, yeah, I'm going to go do that too. Is that a shoot or is that scripted?
That felt real.
That felt real to me too. Yeah.
Because again, I know, I'm still gathering information as far as how things were in the grasp, but when he left, it was complete silence. It wasn't like the continuous. It was like, oh, O'Brien really left the table. O'Brien is really happy. Oh, we need to let this breathe. Because again, sometimes commentators don't know how to let the moments breathe. They let that shit breathe.
Bro, an organic babyface is going to be the most powerful thing in pro wrestling every single time. Every single time. The art of pro wrestling dating back to like the admin of television was the babyface who chased after the big heel, right? All great babyfaces had like this organic sense of like support, right? Dusty did it, Austin did it, Rock, Daniel Bryan, perfect example in this modern era. If we're going into the 2025, Hangman Page, Jey Uso, right? This is no different, right? Kofi, like I said, like that Kofimania thing just wasn't a storyline for a lot of people. Like a lot of people, like this shit meant something to them, right? I've been a pro wrestling fan since I was a little kid, 3 years old. I've cried maybe 3 times in the entire time I've watched pro wrestling, right? I cried when Eddie Guerrero died. I shed some tears when Sting retired. You know what I mean? Because Sting's my favorite wrestler. But when Kofi won the title, like genuine tears. I was so happy, man. Like we were saying earlier, like this for some people, this wasn't a storyline. Like this, as a wrestling fan, meant the world to me, right? And for Kofi to go on and do it at not just any pay-per-view, not just any PLE, he did it at WrestleMania.
Mania.
Bro, I can't tell you the rest of the card after that match. I cannot tell you the rest of the card.
Did you know Bobby Lashley took on Finn Balor for the IC belt?
Don't remember.
I don't know who won.
Oh,
Somebody can be like, yo, here's $1 million. Name the rest of the matches after Kofi.
Ooh.
Can't do it. I can do the main event. That's it. But yeah, man, like this was, like I said, this whole thing was just a powerful story.
WrestleMania was one night back then too, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
One night. You got one night to get it in.
Wicked.
It was 8 hours, but it was one night.
It was one night.
Dog, it was daylight when the show started.
Those days are so exhausting. I'm so glad they went to 2 nights. Ugh. Ugh.
As we wrap this up, I do think it's important that we look, because like I said, we're not that far from this particular moment, right? This is 2019. We're in 2025. If you look at this particular match and where the trajectory of people, like where they're at, you know what I mean? I don't know what the hell Gallows and Anderson are doing. I don't know. I think they're about to be in NWA, whatever, right? Look at Rusev, what Rusev is doing now. Rusev has gone to AEW, got this whole, the God fighting persona, right? Shinsuke is more or less like a special attraction. Cesaro is in AEW. Sheamus is still doing his thing. Bryan Danielson's retired. Rowan is in the Wyatt Six, right? I say the Usos for second to last because from 2019 to 2025, look where the Usos are today. Who would have thought in 2019 Jey Uso would have one of the most popular entrances, catchphrases? Who would have thought in 2019 Jey Uso was going to be a world champion himself? Right?
Not me.
I'll go you one further. I mean, and then granted, it hasn't been the most successful singles run, but I love the fact when, like you said, JC, we can appreciate a non-wrestling or something that's related to a story. Say what you will, say what you want about Jimmy. The bloodline doesn't happen. The Jey Uso thing doesn't happen. That doesn't happen without Jimmy Uso being the unsung hero every single fucking time. When you need a plug and play, when you need something to get you to the hump, Jimmy Uso gonna give it to you. That has been highlighted these past couple years, and I'm glad we were able to sit back like, oh, Jimmy, you are needed. Because without you, I don't know how we get here.
So I definitely disagree, but I feel you.
Whoa, stop.
I definitely disagree.
In what space?
No disrespect to Jimmy whatsoever. I think Jimmy is absolutely phenomenal, right? Oddly enough, like it was Jimmy's injury the next year that he had a knee injury at Mania, that pandemic show, that kind of opened the door for Jey Uso to slide, like for them to have a story with Jey Uso, right? But that's a what if in pro wrestling. If Jimmy Uso doesn't get injured at that WrestleMania, do we get the eventual story that became the Bloodline? You know what I mean? Can't really answer it, but I think let me actually backtrack, because I think it would be disrespectful and disingenuous to write off Jimmy Uso like that. I think what happened with that, I think because people saw Jay as the single star, like this, having the single run first, it gave a perception that he was ahead of Jimmy, right? Jay being that we got a chance to see the feud with Roman, we got to see him have the matches during the pandemic, the Hell in a Cell, the I Quit. It definitely gave Jimmy a leg up, or give Jay a leg up on Jimmy. I feel like we haven't had the opportunity to see what Jimmy can do in a main event profile, for the simple fact he's right now in the storyline with his brother, you know what I mean? Like doing whatever they're building to. I think Jay was given a ball. I think Jay ran with it. And I think the way Jay ran with it made him the bigger star in the Usos at the moment.
So what I was saying about Jimmy wasn't saying that about Jay. What I was saying about Jimmy is that we were able to highlight his significant role in each part that led to Jay becoming what Jay was. It led to the bloodline becoming what was. You don't have certain moments without Jimmy playing a certain part.
Yeah, I still disagree.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean,
you want to hope that you're a Matt Hardy to the Hardys than a Marty Jannetty to the Rockers, right? You want to hope that you at least have your own success. It may not be, you might be overshadowed by the other brother, Jeff, who, has the multiple title reigns, but for world champ. But, look, the Anoa'i family has delivered so much for us, and they're going to continue to do that, especially with Naomi and Big Jimmy's kid coming on the way. So what did she say? The bloodline is secured. So
and to go
for good or worse, for good or bad.
And to go back to you, Chaz, I think what it is, like you said that at this time, like you weren't really watching, right? Like in 2019.
At 2019, but I was talking about, you were talking about what happened between how everybody benefited from this storyline. That's where I was going with Jimmy and talking about how he was able to benefit from the storyline.
I got you. Okay.
But you still ain't rocking with it, so it's fair. That's fair.
But then, like I said, even down to the New Day, right? Where the New Day is currently. Big E just, like, it's been officially announced he's retired. You know what I mean? Like, the likelihood that we will ever see Big E back in the ring is very low. It once again, like, this particular match highlights, like, how great of a talent Big E was, right? The New Day, they're still doing their thing, Xavier, Kofi, but it's just like, I genuinely wish we could have seen one last match for all three of them. And I'm very comfortable with the way the things ended. Like, as far as, like, I'm glad Big E is healthy. I'm glad that he is in a space where, like, he's able to just live his life comfortably, healthy. I think it's very beautiful that he has found peace in the way that he needed to find peace. It's just like it's just crazy what, like I said, 2019 to 2025, like, or shoot, that injury happened in 2022. So, like, we're only a few years away from that particular career-ending injury. But yeah, man, it's a dynamic to see what pro wrestling was like in 2019 to what it is today.
I'm grateful to see that Big E got the big one before he had to retire. I'll say this because it was in the news recently, is that Rich Holland announced that his contract is not going to be renewed, which, we want our wrestlers to have long and healthy lives, after wrestling. And, you got to feel for the guy because, it's, you're not beating those allegations, bro, because you hurt too many people, and you kind of took that away from us and from Big E. He's lucky he's able to walk after an injury like that. So we're, there could be a time. I mean, we've seen it before where people say, like, okay, I'm done, and then they come back years later. Look at Edge after all of his neck surgeries, back surgeries. Look at Daniel Bryan. So Give it some time. I think the crowd would love for Big E to come back eventually, but in the meantime, I would also love to see Xavier Woods get the big one too, just so that all three of them could see that, like, oh, we all could do that, right? And maybe even give Kofi another run. You know, it's pretty crowded main event scene right now, but you know, hey, never say never.
Man, never. The fuck? Not from what I saw. You know what?
Oh, go ahead.
That goes against this whole vibe. So I'm gonna use the power of positivity. Maybe one day.
I feel like I'm right there with you, bro. Like, power of positivity, man. Like, I pray for the day that randomly we just hear Big E's entrance fire up, and he's got the straps on, and he's got the jacket, and he's gyrating. But like I said, we're very fortunate that we still get to hear Big E on the PLE pre-shows and all that. So,
and you know, not for nothing, he has a pretty solid career. You know what I'm saying? Between his singles and his tag, the storyline he did with Dolphin and AJ Lee. There's a lot of moments on that. It's the resume is not too light. You know what I mean? Where you be like, all right, if he's at peace with everything, I'm at peace with everything too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You got
NXT champion.
Clearly he my man. Did the check clear? We need to add Big E to the check clear list, because if the check got clear, the nigga gets his bag. You understand?
Absolutely, 100%. Like, he not showing up for Monday Night Raw. He's not showing up for SmackDown. My man does PLEs and that's it. He goes home. You know what I mean? Because why? Because the PLE checks, they cleared. My man's like, yo, let's do these international shows. We good. We flying first class. But
let me bring my family with me.
Yeah.
Bingo.
So, you know, for the fans of the watch list, we have a long-standing tradition, the Novo Green Leaf Scale rating. I give this match 4 1/4 leaves. I think this match was brilliant in storytelling. I think Xavier Woods and Big E put on damn near probably the most impactful performance of this entire story. Just because, like I said, like you're telling the story of brotherhood and what brotherhood actually means. And like I said, even if like that's not the intent, I genuinely believe they felt that. Like, I really felt like they fought for this particular moment in the ring and behind the scenes. Like I said, salute to the teams that played their role. But I just, like I said, this match was an excellent main event to a TV. Excellent ending. Like I said, led to one of the most important moments of as a wrestling fan. Yeah, 4 1/4 leaves for me.
JC?
I'll go ahead and give it 5 leaves. I think about the cultural impact. I mean, there's this video of, I think it's Shad Gaspar, you know, rest in peace, and MVP witnessing the match at a pub or something, and then just like really emotional about it. And so, like, I as a white man will never understand that entirely. Like, I don't have that life experience, and I never will. You know, I can try to empathize for that, and I do, and I sympathize for that, of course. But like, that's something that you guys can absolutely 110% feel and know as part of your being, you know. And for me to be able to see that and be like, that's really special for y'all, you know, like that's important. And I also enjoyed it to a lesser extent, you know. So I'll say 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was a ton of fun.
Let me go ahead and throw them 6 mics. Oh, I'm sorry. That's XLL. Yo, Nolo, 5 leaves, man. I don't have any. This was perfect. I didn't think the Gauntlet, because this was my first time seeing a Gauntlet tag joint. I've seen a Gauntlet, a person on the Gauntlet before, a single dude. So wasn't new to that, but a Gauntlet tag, that was my first time experiencing. And outside of the first two, which and if, like I said, if it would have kind of fell flat at the end, it probably would have, in the midst of the end, especially with that Uso moment, it probably been a 4 to 5. But I mean, the Uso moment, the ending, the celebration, everything was raw, everything was real, everything was genuine. It just made me. And again, I like to base the system off how I felt versus everything else. But if you can make me feel good on top of everything else, then yeah, I can definitely feel calm and give you your 5 leaves. So yeah, man, that's where I'm at with it.
It would have been a 5 if Gallows and Corey.
Boo!
Hey, man, listen, you're gonna have to let this hurt. You're gonna have to let this hurt. It's clouding your judgment, man. It's clouding your views.
Now, you know damn well that I do not let things go, brother. So let's start there.
So let me ask you this. If it was Heath Slater and Rhino instead of,
sorry, bro.
If it was the Ascension instead of Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, would it have been 5 stars for you?
People not hit to the Ascension, so I would have said 5 stars, absolutely.
No, come on.
I was there the night they won the tag titles.
That is nasty. That is nasty.
That's pro wrestling in a nutshell, man. Well, look, gentlemen, you made it to the end of the show. JC, you have been absolutely incredible, man. Like, yeah, been an absolute pleasure. We got to get you on the volumes. We got to get you on a Sunday night show. The conversation of BGW, you know what I mean, especially of the current aspect. But please, this is the moment. Gas yourself up. Tell people where they can find you. What projects do you have going on? Yes, please, man. Like, I can do it for you, but I think it's better if it comes from you.
Well, if you must know, you can follow me at Instagram and other social medias, like as you see my name down here, at j.c.cloonan. I'm the founder of LifeMarks Media, which you can also follow us on there. Yeah, I'm just a guy who's doing his best.
More than that,
you do amazing work. Please, if you're in the Virginia area, please contact my man. Not only you're gonna get the best work, you're gonna get a quality human being to do.
We don't film like this anymore.
Like I said, incredible, man. Hollywood Blonde style. Of course, you can find me, Scotland Underwood, Poetic Scotland on X, Scotland_Underwood on Instagram. Yeah. Like I said, got some things in the works. I'm keeping it hush hush for right now. But as I said on Twitter, we're back in business. You know what I mean? We've been slipping. I genuinely want to apologize to people watching right now for the lack of shows, for the lack of updates about what's been going on. The team has been rocking it, phenomenal. Locker room lead, Ladies Hoop Collective until the final whistle. But yeah, we can do better. We can always do better. You know what I mean? We do phenomenal work. We do 5-star work. Trying to make Q4, we're making it 6 stars. So once again, just as just want to apologize for that. But we back, we here, we up.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Brain fart. Because you know what I'm about to do? I was about to do the whole spiel. Like, oh wait, this ain't Sunday. This is the watch list. So listen, respectfully, you can find all of my team where y'all know where to find them at. But right now, you can find JC cooling, filming. You can find Scotland's Words of Life floating around your brain and in the energy. And what's that you ask? What words of life? Oh, no. That words of life right there. That's words of life. Okay.
Terry, come on.
You published that?
Yeah. Oh,
he did. He published it. He published that. That right there.
I know you did. I know you did online stuff. I didn't know you had a physical. That's awesome.
I don't think we've ever, like, you weren't here, like you weren't at our workplace when I had published that book. Yeah, I got 3 books, bro.
Oh, I got to get those in. I didn't know they came in physical. I would like to pick those up.
We'll
Yep,
talk.
yep.
I got you, bro. I got you. Yeah.
So yes, pick that up, and I do a little web series like crazy.
Ladies Who Collective.
Season 20 was a wrap. That was season finale. I've said all I needed to say, but since we're here, thank you. I love you all. I really appreciate it. We'll be back with season 2. God bless.
I do not know when we will be back with the watch list. This shit might be. And if it is the finale of the watch list, it probably not. But in my head, I can't think of a better co-host than my man JC rocking it with us. Excellent topic. Yeah. I mean, it's great too. Great way to end a Tuesday. Great way to finish out. Please go watch the Graps. Go support the Graps. Go watch your favorite match one time. Go watch a match you haven't seen in a long time. The whole point of the watch list is just to open up the dialogue to remember why we watch this thing called professional wrestling. Before we get up out of here, JC, is there anything else you want to add for to wrap up the show?
No, thank you so much for having me. This was a ton of fun. I had a great time kind of going down memory lane and picking a match that was emotionally resonant. And yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you dealing with the technical difficulties. I appreciate you getting to watch me and Chaz do what we normally do, and that's not take anything seriously.
No, we had a lot of fun. This was cool.
But yeah, Chaz, you got anything before we rock out?
I do. Listen, you want to be a part of the watch list? You want to do what we do? You want to sit and talk the grass the way we talk? Then do the homework. And more importantly, what you should do, homework, and you should go back to 017 and watch Alex Shelley versus Bob Backlund. Go do that, because this guy beside me, favorite wrestler, is Alex Shelley. And you will be a big, huge support. I'm sorry, not his favorite, one of his favorites. Big, huge support if you do that. And then after you do that, you should go watch Bob Backlund versus Bret Hart. 2 of them things, okay? Because that's his other second wrestler. It's Sting, it's Alex, and it's Bret. And some dope black person. But beside the point, go watch that. And then you too could be a Bob shooter. I have spoken.
All praise for Bob Backlund around these parts, my dog. You know what I mean? That's what we do. You know what I mean? Until next time, JC, we appreciate you. To the homies, Nolo, D-Mac, Low, we love you. BGW, we'll see you actually until the final whistle tomorrow, Wednesday. But we will be back, volume 214, BGW, this Sunday. We are out. Peace out to my world.
And at the end of the day, be a Bob Black and shoot.
Out.
Goodbye.